and welcome to Springfield Career Insights. Tonight, we examine the politics of board appointments, where merit is often sidelined by proximity and governance becomes a ritual of reward. We ask, what happens when boards are populated by friends, allies, and loyalists instead of experts, strategists, and fiduciaries? In this episode, we explore the cost of compromised oversight, the erosion of institutional dignity, and the urgent need for reform. We are joined by His Excellency Dr. Godfrey Gandawa, President of Springfield Research University, policy reformist, and architect of sovereign governance frameworks. His work insists that public appointments must serve the public, not personal networks. Welcome, President. We look forward to your diagnosis.
Thank you, Advocate. A board is not a reward. It is a responsibility. When proximity governs, institutions stand. When merit leads, nations rise.
Thank you, Professor. Let's begin with the uncomfortable truth. Why do so many board appointments seem to reward loyalty over competence?
Thank you, Advocate. So let us begin with the uncomfortable truth. Board appointments in too many institutions have become rewards for loyalty, not instruments of leadership. Competence is sidelined. Experience is ignored. Vision is replaced by obedience. Why? Because loyalty is predictable. It does not question. It does not challenge. It does not threaten the comfort of the powerful. Competence, on the other hand, is inconvenient. It demands reform. It exposes inefficiency. It insists on standards. So, the boardroom becomes a sanctuary of sycophants, not a laboratory of strategy, a gallery of familiar faces, not a crucible of fresh ideas. This is not governance, Advocate. It is choreography. It is the illusion of oversight without the substance of scrutiny. The danger? Decisions are made without depth. Budgets are approved without interrogation. Institutions drift, not because they lack resources, because they lack rigor. So I say, we must recalibrate the criteria. We must restore the board as a place of merit, not memory, of courage, not comfort. Let appointments be earned, not inherited. Let competency be the currency, not compliance. For the nation cannot rise on the shoulders of the loyal alone. It must be lifted by the capable, meritocracy, we call it, the courageous, and the uncompromising.
Thank you, Professor. When a minister appoints a friend to a board, is it governance or is it favor?
Thank you, Advocate. When a minister appoints a friend to a board, the question is not friendship. It is fitness, not proximity, but principle. Governance demands competence, transparency, and allegiance to the public good. Favors demands loyalty, convenience, and allegiance to the appointer. So what is it? If the appointment serves the institution, it is governance. If it serves the minister, it is favor. If the appointee brings expertise, independent judgment, and a record of public service, it is governance. But if they bring only applause, obedience, and a history of political proximity in his favor. Let us be clear. The board is not a reward. It is a responsibility. It is not a stage for patronage. It is a shield for the public interest. When boards are filled with friends, like I see in many boards, oversight becomes ornamental, strategy becomes scripted, and the institution becomes a hostage to the comfort of the powerful. So I say, let every appointment pass the test of merit, of memory, of independence, not of intimacy, of service, not of submission. For governance is not a gift to be given, it is trust to be earned. And when favor masquerades as leadership, the nation pays the price in silence, in stagnation, and in the slow erosion of public dignity.
Thank you, Professor. What are the consequences, financial, strategic, and ethical, of appointing board members who lack sectoral expertise?
I thank you, Advocate. Appointing board members without sectoral expertise is not just a mistake. It is a structural sabotage. Financially, it bleeds the institutions. Decisions are delayed. Budgets are misread. Resources are misallocated. Because these people don't know anything. It's just patronage. The body becomes a rubber stamp, not a fiscal canvas, and the institution pays in words, in efficiency, in contracts signed without scrutiny, in audits that reveal negligence too late. Strategically, it derails the mission. Without expertise, there is no foresight, no grasp of trends, no anticipation of risk. The board cannot guide innovation. It can only echo instruction. Vision is replaced by vagueness. And the institution drifts, not because it lacks ambition, but because it lacks anchors. Ethically, it corrodes public trust. The citizen sees the appointment, knows the appointee is unqualified, and concludes rightly that merit has been sacrificed, that loyalty has trumped legitimacy, that governance has been traded for patronage. And when trust erodes, compliance falters, morale declines, and the institution becomes a theater where performance replaces purpose. So I say, sectoral expertise is not a luxury. It is a necessity, Advocate. It is the difference between oversight and oversight failure, between stewardship and stagnation. Let boards be built on knowledge, not on nods. Let appointments be earned, not exchanged. For the cost of ignorance is not just technical, it is existential. And the nation cannot afford to entrust its institutions to those who do not understand them.
Thank you, Professor. Can a board chaired by a political ally ever hold its appointing minister accountable?
Thank you, Advocate. Can a board chaired by a political ally hold its appointing minister accountable? Rarely, reluctantly, and often never. For when the chair owes their seat to the minister's favor, oversight becomes ornamental. But you say, but I put you there. No, John, I put you there. Scrutiny becomes selective, and silence becomes a strategy. The boardroom, once designed for governance, becomes a sanctuary for loyalty. The chair, once a steward of institutional integrity, becomes a shield for political comfort. Accountability demands independence. It demands courage. It demands the freedom to say no, to question the budget, to challenge the directive, to protect the institution from the very hand that appointed them. But a political ally is bound, advocate, not by law, but by loyalty, not by duty, but by debt. Because you owe me, I appointed you there. And so the body fails, not because it lacks intelligence, but because it lacks autonomy. Not because it lacks structure, but because it lacks spine. The consequences, the decisions are delayed. Malpractice is masked, and the institution becomes a mirror reflecting the minister's will, not the nation's needs. So I say, let the chair be chosen for courage, not for closeness. Let the board be built on independence, not indebtedness. For accountability cannot flourish in a room where every voice echoes the minister's tone. And governance cannot survive when the chair is captive to the hand that crowned them.
Thank you, Professor. Should board appointments be subject to public vetting, parliamentary scrutiny, or independent review?
Thank you, Advocate. Yes. Board appointments must be subject to scrutiny, not as a courtesy, but as a constitutional obligation. Not to embarrass the appointer, but to protect the institution. Public vetting ensures transparency. Parliamentary scrutiny ensures accountability. Independent review ensures integrity. Together, they form a firewall against nepotism, against incompetence, against the quiet decay of public trust. For the board is not a private club. It is a public covenant. Its decisions shape budgets, steer institutions, influences lives. So I ask, why should such power be shielded from scrutiny? Why should appointments be whispered in corridors when their consequences echo across the republic or the kingdom? Let the public know who is being appointed and why. Let Parliament interrogate the credentials and the conflicts. Let independent panels assess the merit, not the memory. For when appointments are made in darkness, governance suffers in daylight. And when scrutiny is absent, so too is strategy. So too is stewardship. So I say, let the boardroom be lit by public inquiry, by parliamentary courage, by independent rigor. Let every appointment be earned, not exchanged. Let every chair be a steward, not a surrogate. We see surrogates. For the nation cannot afford to entrust its institutions to the unexamined.
Thank you, Professor. Let's take a break and listen to a song called Echoes of Justice.
Echoes of justice in the heart of Springfield, where justice calls, students rise, breaking down the walls. With passion and purpose, they stand tall, bridging theory and practice, answering the law's call. Springfield Law Clinic, where dreams take flight, empowered in the people, shining bright. From the courtroom to the streets we fight. techno beats and country soul. Electronic rhythms make us whole. Whoa. Feel the power, feel the drive. Springfield Law Clinic, we thrive. Dance for justice, hearts ignite. Together we shine in the spotlight. Springfield Law, we stand tall. Oh, justice for all. Oh, Springfield Law, hear the call. Oh, together we won't fall. In our community, we make a stand, helping those in need, lending a hand with every victory. We expand, creating change across this land. Springfield Law Clinic, where dreams take flight. Umpire the people shining bright, from the courtroom to the streets. We fight for justice, for freedom, day and night. Together we stand, united and strong. Springfield Law Clinic, where we belong. With every step, every dance, every song, we fight for justice all day long.
Welcome back. Let's continue with our discussion. What message does it send to professionals when merit is sidelined by proximity?
And thank you, Advocate. It sends a message that excellence is expendable. Loyalty, not learning, is the ladder. That proximity to power matters more than proximity to principle. To the professional, it says, your qualifications are negotiable. Your experience is inconvenient. Your integrity is irrelevant. It tells the young graduate, study if you wish, but your future may be decided by who you flatter, not what you know. It tells the seasoned expert, your years of service are no match for a handshake behind closed doors. And slowly, the nation begins to bleed its best. The competent become cynical. The ethical become exhausted. The visionary become voiceless. Institutions lose their edge. Innovation is stifled. And mediocrity becomes the norm, not because talent is absent, but because it is ignored. So I say, when merit is sidelined, the message is betrayal, the consequence is decay, the cost is national. Let us restore the covenant. That effort must be rewarded. That excellency must be elevated. That appointments must reflect ability, not allegiance. For only then will the professional believe again. Only then will the citizen trust again. And only then will the republic, or kingdom rather, rise again.
Thank you, Professor. Is it time to publish the qualifications and appointment rationale for every board member?
Thank you, Advocate. Yes. Yes, it is time. Time to end the era of opaque appointments, of whispered selections, of credentials concealed beneath convenience. For every board member wields public power, influencing budgets, steering institutions, shaping futures, and with such power must come public proof. Proof of qualification, proof of relevance, proof of rationale. To publish the credentials is not an insult. It is an invitation to trust. To disclose the appointment logic is not a burden. It is a badge of integrity. Let the citizens see who sits at the table, why they were chosen, and what they bring beyond proximity. Let the younger professional know that merit still matters, that excellence is still visible, that public service is not a private reward. For when appointments are hidden, suspicion grows. When qualifications are unclear, confidence wanes. And when rationale is absent, accountability evaporates. So I say, publish the ledger, declare the credentials, defend the decisions. Let every board member be known, not just by name, but by merit. Let the nation read the appointments and say not, who is this? But, that makes sense. For transparency is not a threat to governance. It is its foundation. And when the public can see the board will begin to serve the public.
Thank you, Professor. How do we prevent boards from becoming echo chambers of political affirmation rather than the engines of oversight?
Thank you, Advocate. To prevent boards from becoming echo chambers, we must first silence the script. The rehearsed affirmations, the ceremonial nods, the loyalty masquerading as leadership. Oversight is not applause. It is interrogation. It is the courage to say, this is not working. Even when the minister is in the room, even when the appointer expects obedience. So how do we reclaim the boardroom? First, we must restore independence. No chair should owe their silence to the hand that appointed them. No member should fear removal for asking the right question. Let tenure be protected. Let dissent be respected. Secondly, we must diversify expertise. A board member or a board of political allies is not a board. You see? Do you know what it is? It is a choir. Bayahlabela nje. They sing. Let engineers sit beside economists. Let educators challenge the auditors. Let the sector speak through its steward, not through its sponsors. Third, we must institutionalize scrutiny. Let minutes be published. Let decisions be justified. Let performance be measured, not by loyalty, but by impact. Imagine some people manipulate scores and the minister doesn't do anything. The board doesn't do anything. Fourth, we must cultivate a culture of courage. Let board members be trained, not just in governance, but in ethical resistance. Let them know that silence is not safety. You know what it is? It is surrender. So I say, let the boardroom be a crucible, not a comfort zone. Let it be a place where the truth is spoken, not suppressed, where oversight is active, not ornamental. For the nation does not need more affirmation. It needs accountability. It does not need more echoes. It needs engines of integrity, of insight, and of institutional courage.
Thank you, Professor. Can a board member with no financial, legal, or governance background contribute meaningfully to institutional strategy?
Thank you, Advocate. A board member without financial, legal, or governance background may bring passion, perspective, and lived experience. But without foundational expertise, their contribution to institutional strategy is limited and often dangerously symbolic. Strategy is not sentiment, it is structure. It is the ability to read a balance sheet, to interpret a legal clause, to foresee regulatory risk. That's why they just pass things, but they know next. They know nothing. If you ask them, which law are you following? What is he again? It's caused by this. To foresee regulatory risk, to interrogate procurement frameworks, and to align institutional goals with national obligations. You need that expertise. Without these tools, the board member becomes a spectator, not a strategist, a participant in ceremony, not a steward of consequence. Yes, diversity of thought matters. Yes, community insight matters. But insight must be paired with infrastructure. Perspective must be anchored in proficiency. Otherwise, the boardroom becomes a theater where voices are heard, but decisions are hollow. Where goodwill is abandoned, but governance is absent. So I say, avoid. Let every board member bring more than presence. Let them bring preparation. Let them bring the capacity to challenge, to calculate, to contribute. For institutional strategy is not a conversation. It is a covenant. And that covenant must be guarded by those who understand its architecture.
Thank you, Professor. What safeguards exist to prevent conflict of interest, especially when appointees are close associates of the minister?
Thank you, Advocate. Safeguards do exist on paper. Declarations of interest, code of conduct, recusal protocols, ethics committees. But paper does not govern. People do. And when appointees are close associates of the minister, the line between oversight and obedience blurs. The boardroom becomes a reunion, not a review. And the institution becomes a mirror, reflecting the minister's comfort, not the nation's contents. So, what must be done? First, enforce full disclosure. Let every appointee declare relationships, financial ties, political affiliations, not as a formality, but as a firewall. You want to know who is who, related to who. Second, mandate independent vetting. Let appointments pass through panels that owe nothing to the minister and everything to the mandate. You appoint your friends, the board, independent body will flag it out. Third, institutionalize recusal. Let board members step aside from decisions where proximity clouds judgment, not voluntarily but procedurally. Fourth, empower whistleblowers. Let staff report undue influence without fear of retaliation. Let silence no longer be the safest option. And fifth, publish bold decisions. Let the public see who voted, who abstained, and who benefited. For conflict of interest is not just a technicality, it is a threat to trust. It is the quiet corruption that erodes institutions from within. So I say, let the safeguards be more than signatures. Let them be systems. Let them be enforced, audited, and defended. For when proximity governs policy, the public pays the price. And when conflict is unchecked, the institution becomes compromised, not by incompetence, but by intimacy.
Thank you, Professor. Let's take a break and listen to a song called Ilizwi Mthetho.
Easy when near Springfield, lapho umthetho ubiza abafundi bavuka baphula odongeni kokuthakazelela nangokuhlusiwe baphakama bakhumangisa ithiyori nokusebenza baphendula kubizelwa komthetho iSpringfield Law Clinic lapho amaphupho ethuthuka ukhuthaza abantu kukhanya kakhulu kusekele ekhulwini ukuya esitaladini silwa ngenhlonipho nengenhlala kahle usuku nosuku ukufunda ngezandla ukwakha imiqondo yesikhathi esizayo ukuphatha uhlelo kungashiya umuntu emuva ngokuhamba kwesikhathi zonke izimangalo abathola bakhulisa ukuzethemba ukhazulula izinkinga kudidiyelwe iSpringfield Law Clinic lapho amaphupho ethuthuka ukhuthaza abantu kukhanya kakhulu kusukela ekhulwini ukuya esitaladini silwa ngenhlonipho nenhlala kahle usuku nosuku amathoni techno nomoya wezwe izithako ze-electronic zisenza sibemunye zizwa amandla zizwa umdlandla iSpringfield Law Clinic siphumelela dance for justice hearts ignite sihlangana sikhanye zinkanyezi iSpringfield Law simile phezulu ubulungiswa kubo bonke iSpringfield Law thola ukubizelwa ndawonye sukuja emphakathini wethu senza isinqumo siza labo abaswele sinika isandla ngokuthola yonke impumelelo sikhula sakha ushintsho kulo mhlaba iSpringfield Law Clinic lo amaphupho ethuthuka ukhuthaza abantu kukhanya kakhulu kuswele ekhulwini ukuya esitaladini silwa ngenhlonipho nenhlala kahle usuku nosuku sihlangene simunye futhi siqinile iSpringfield Law Clinic lapho siphila khona ngokuhamba kwesinyathelo umdanso nengoma silwa ngenhlonipho usuku lonke
Welcome back. Let's continue with our discussion. Should term limits and performance reviews be mandatory for all board members?
Thank you, Advocate. Yes. Without hesitation, without exception. Term limits and performance reviews must be mandatory. Not to punish tenure, but to protect integrity. Not to disrupt continuity, but to prevent complacency. For without term limits, the board becomes a throne room. Appointments calcify, voices stagnate, and governance becomes inheritance, not stewardship. Without performance reviews, mediocrity is normalized. Decisions go unchallenged. Failures go unmeasured. And the institution drifts, not because it lacks talent, but because it lacks accountability. So let us be clear. Board membership is not a lifetime achievement award, like what we see. It is a renewable trust. It must be earned, evaluated, and when necessary, retired. Term limits ensure rotation of insight. They invite fresh perspectives, prevent monopolies of influence, and remind every member, you are here to serve, not to settle. Performance reviews ensure relevance. They measure contribution, interrogate attendance, assess strategic impact, and expose silent passengers who occupy seats, but not responsibility. So I say, Advocate, let every board member face the mirror, not just once, but regularly. Let their tenure be timed, their impact be tracked, and their renewal be earned. For the institution is not served by performance without performance. It is strengthened by rotation with rigor. And when the boardroom is governed by time and truth, not ties and tradition, the republic, rather the kingdom, begins to rise.
Thank you, Professor. Is it ethical or even legal for a minister to appoint someone whose qualification is only loyalty?
Thank you, Advocate. It is neither ethical nor in many jurisdictions legal to appoint someone whose only qualification is loyalty. For public office is not a reward. It is a responsibility. And loyalty without competence is not a credential. It is a conflict. Ethically, such appointments betray the public trust. They signal that governance is a gift for the obedient, not a duty for the qualified. They reduce institutions to instruments of affirmation, not engines of oversight. Legally, many constitutions and statutes require appointments to be based on merit, sectoral relevance, and demonstrably capacity. You demonstrate your capacity. To ignore these standards is to violate the spirit, if not the letter of the law. And what are the consequences? Strategic paralysis. Boards cannot interrogate budgets, anticipate risks, or guide reform when their members lack the tools to do so. They take somebody who doesn't even know education. Then they are put in a board to regulate higher institutions. What do you expect? Strategic paralysis. Financial exposure. Poor oversight leads to poor procurement, inflated contracts, and unchallenged words. Institutional decay. Staff lose morale. Citizens lose trust. And the institution becomes a theater where loyalty is applauded and leadership is absent. In many institutions, you see good leadership. There is no leadership there. So I said, loyalty may be valued, but it must never be the sole qualification. Let every appointment be anchored in ability, audited for relevance, and defended by law. For when loyalty replaces legitimacy, the republic, rather the kingdom, is not governed. It is gamed.
Thank you, Professor. How do we rebuild public trust in boards that have been politicized or compromised?
Thank you, Advocate. We rebuild public trust not with apologies, but with architecture, not with gestures, but with guarantees. For when boards have been politicized or compromised, the citizen does not need reassurance. They need reform. First, we must cleanse the appointment process. Let merit be the gatekeeper. Let sectoral expertise be the standard. Let every nomination pass through public scrutiny, parliamentary interrogation, and independent review. Second, we must publish the ledger. Let the qualifications be known. Let the rationale be declared. Let the citizen read the boardroom and say, this is competence, not convenience. Third, we must enforce term limits and performance audits. Let no seat be permanent. Let no silence be rewarded. Let every member end their tenure with a measurable impact, not ceremonial presence. Fourth, we must institutionalize accountability. Let minutes be public. Let decisions be traceable. Let conflicts of interest be declared, investigated, and punished. Fifth, we must invite civil society and academia into the architecture of oversight. Let the people's voices and the scholars' rigor shape the future of governance. And finally, we must protect whistleblowers. For truth must never be punished. It must be protected, promoted, and placed at the center of every boardroom. So I say, rebuilding trust is not a campaign. It is a covenant. It is the daily discipline of transparency, the structural insistence on merit, and the moral refusal to normalize mediocrity. Let the boards rise again, not as ornaments of power, but as engines of integrity.
Wow, this is amazing. Let's take a commercial break and stay tuned.
At Springfield Research University, we don't teach to pass exams, we encode futures. Grounded in Education 6.0 and powered by STEMMA, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, medicine and automation, we deliver modular, sovereign learning across undergraduate, master's and doctoral programs. Explore our prospectus, where every curriculum is designed to STEMatize every discipline, dignify local authorship, and credential transformative knowledge. Be STEMatized, be sovereign. Here, knowledge is authored, not borrowed. Curriculum is credentialed, not copied. Every graduate becomes an architect of transformation, With 2 annual intakes, March and September, the path to innovation is always open. From the logic of automation to the soul of indigenous intelligence, SRU is where tomorrow is designed. Springfield isn't just a university, it's an epicenter of epistemic dignity. Join the movement. Study where learning governs itself. Springfield Research University, the globe is here. Where are you?
Welcome back. Let's continue with our discussion. Why do some chairpersons of boards subordinate themselves to the CEOs they are meant to govern?
Thank you, Advocate. So you ask, why do some chairpersons subordinate themselves to the very CEOs they are meant to govern? Because governance has been replaced by gratitude. Because oversight has been traded for indulgence. Because the chair, once a sentinel of scrutiny, has become a recipient of favors. You see? Per diems disguised as privilege, gifts masked as goodwill, tips, tokens, and tailored comforts that soften the spine and silence the voice. The CEO, armed with budgetary discretion, becomes the benefactor. The chair, meant to interrogate, becomes indebted. That's exactly what is happening. They are there for the money. And the CEOs know that. So they compromise them. I'm using compromise now. And so the boardroom inverts. The governed become the governor. The steward becomes the subordinate. And the institution becomes theater where performance replaces principle. This is not governance. It is capitulation. It is the quiet corruption that erodes institutions from within. The consequences? Budgets approved without interrogation. Procurement rubber-stamped without scrutiny. Strategic plans endorsed without alignment. Malpractice ignored for the sake of comfort. A CEO manipulates the scores. They can't punish them because they are the benefactors. So I say, let the chair be restored, not as a guest to the CEO, but as a guardian of the institution. Let every favor be declared. Let every gift be audited. Let every act of indulgence be treated as a breach of public trust. For the chair is not a client, not a companion, not a co-conspirator. The chair is the compass. And when the compass bows to the map maker, the institution loses its way. I call it becomes a scam.
Thank you, Professor. What reforms are needed to ensure that board appointments reflect national interest, not personal networks?
Thank you, Advocate. To ensure board appointments reflect national interest, not personal networks, we must move from discretion to discipline, from handshakes to frameworks, from loyalty to legitimacy. This is not cosmetic adjustment. It is a constitutional recalibration. So number one, we codify merit-based criteria. So let every board appointment be governed by law, not by whim. Define sectoral expertise, governance literacy, and ethical standing as non-negotiable prerequisites. No more vague qualifications, no more ceremonial CVs. Number two, institutionalize transparent vetting. Let nominations pass through independent panels composed of civil society, academia, and professional bodies. Let the process be public, the questions rigorous, and the outcomes documented. Third, mandate public disclosure. Publish the qualifications, appointment rationale, and declared interests of every board member. Let the citizen read the ledger and say, this is competence, not convenience. Fourth, enforce term limits and performance reviews. No seat should be permanent. No silence should be rewarded. Let every tenure be earned, audited, and renewed only by merit. Number 5, criminalize nepotistic appointments. Let the law speak clearly. Appointments based solely on personal ties are not just unethical, they are unlawful. Let consequences follow proximity when it undermines the public good. Number 6, empower oversight institutions. Auditor General, Public Prosecutor, Parliamentary Committees. Let them interrogate appointments, review board performance, and publish findings without fear or favor. 7, invite public participation. Let professional associations nominate. Let civil society recommend. Let the people shape the architecture of the institutions that serve them. So I say, advocate, reform is not revenge, it is restoration. It is the republic reclaiming its dignity from the grip of patronage. Let the boardroom be a crucible of competence, not a corridor of connections. Let national interest be the compass, and let every appointment be a step forward, a step towards integrity.
Thank you, Professor. And finally, if a board is meant to govern, not echo, who belongs at the table and who must step aside?
Thank you, advocate. If a board is meant to govern, not echo, then the table must be sacred, not a stage for affirmation, but a crucible of accountability. Who belongs at the table? Those with sectoral fluence, who understand the terrain, not just the titles. Those with governance literacy, who read budgets, interrogate strategy, and challenge silence. Those with ethical spine, who resist favors, reject flattery, and protect the institution from proximity. Those with public purpose, who serve the republic or kingdom, not the minister, not the CEO, not themselves. Who must step aside? The ornamental appointee, those whose presence is symbolic, but whose contribution is absent. The loyalist, whose allegiance is to the appointer, not the mandate. The compromised chair, who bows to gifts and subordinates oversight to indulgence. The silent passenger, who attends meetings, but never interrogates, never contributes, never defends. They are seated there. Someone removes the content. You did not submit content. But she was there when content was submitted. She's not saying, no, my friend, we saw content. For the boardroom is not a reward. It is a responsibility. It is not a reunion of allies. It is a gathering of guardians. So I say, advocate, let the table be cleared. Let competence take its seat. Let courage hold the gavel. Let integrity be the guest of honor. And let those who cannot govern step aside gracefully, permanently, for the republic, or rather the kingdom, deserves a boardroom that serves, not one that echoes. Thank you, Advocate, for having me.
Thank you, President, for exposing the cost of proximity-driven appointments. Your call for merit, transparency, and fiduciary depth reminds us that governance must serve the public, not personal networks. To our audience, if you're ready to recalibrate board appointments, embed strategic oversight, and restore institutional dignity, Springfield Research University awaits you. Visit www.springfieldresearchuniversity.net and join the mission to build boards that govern, not echo. That brings us to the end of this reformist edition of Springfield Career Insights. May tonight's reflections challenge habits, elevate standards, and provoke recalibration. I am Clarence, your host. Good night.
Hey, hey, siyakubuka, siyakubuka, tikiti letu Tanzania kiwa. Hey, hey, siyakubuka, sonke siyavumelana, ngemjululo mushe sonke similela. Hey, hey, siyakubuka, siyakubuka, tikiti letu Tanzania kiwa. Hey, 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 siyakubuka, sonke siyavumelana, ngemjululo muhle sonke simile.